A pleasant day to each and everyone. We're here to discuss our assigned topic, which is the Unit 6 Lesson 3 entitled The Practice of Blended Learning. But before that, let me ask first a refresher or a question that opens a bit scope towards our topic. So, share at least 3 ways on how you interact in your class during this pandemic time. Then comment your answer in a Google Meet comment box by which it serves as your attendance or additional points in today's session. So, what is blended learning or ano nga ba ang blended learning? So, pag sinabi nating blended learning, ito ay kombinasyon ng modular online, offline at traditional class. Examples of modular online, offline are e-books, web-based materials, instructional videos, and etc. Sa traditional class naman ay yung face-to-face class. However, educational technologies and practitioners emphasize that blended learning allows the utilization of pedagogical strategies and approaches in the teaching and learning process with the aid of web-driven instructional resources. So simply, we as a future educator must seize the importance or the essence of pedagogical strategies and approaches kasi ang word na pedagogy clearly as well as broadly covers the various aspects of teaching, and there are many moving parts of it. That includes the teaching styles, feedbacks, and assessment. So without that, the process or the flow of effective learning as well as the web-driven instructional resources kay maruwen. So now, we will move on to the next slide. So there are 4 models of blended learning. These are the rotational model and its 4 subcategories, the flex model, the a la carte model, and the enriched virtual model. According to Horn and Stocker, these 4 models of blended learning are illustrated on the figure below along with the foremost point of blended learning. So first is the rotation model. So in this model, learners were asked to rotate on a fixed schedule based on your discretion as a teacher. This rotation should be done between various learning modalities and at least one is online learning. So this means that as a teacher, atong responsibility ang mag-fix or mag-create og schedule timetable that fix for each 2 education delivery methods. Then the students will straightforwardly manage the amount of time that is given in the schedule or timetable for each education delivery methods. In addition, there are 3 foremost characteristics in rotation model. The first is that the online teaching will be tailored to the students' individual needs. The second component is that collaborative work in school groups will be encouraged by the teachers. The final one is that both independent and collaborative learning will feature in the rotation model. So, mao ni ang nakadistinct sa rotation model sa any other models in blended learning. So, there are 4 subcategories in the rotational model. First is the rotation station. So, in this rotation model, learners rotate within the classroom or in a group of classrooms. Learner will rotate in all stations, not only those assigned to them. It adheres in blending approach as learners can actually experience this method within the class, despite being in a traditional classroom setting. In doing this, learners are grouped in Collaborative Learning Station or CLS. So, pag sinabi nating CLS, in every station, there are learning centers located around the classroom where students spend time doing specific tasks collaboratively. So, each center has a different task or goals. So, ang station rotation widely emphasizes the essence of student-centered and differentiated learning. So now we will move on to the next slide, which is all about the lab rotation. So in this rotation model, learners rotate in a computer laboratory or in a multimedia room, especially for online learning stations. Learners who are responsible enough may do this model with no longer schedules, as rotation may take longer time. So in short, the lab rotation model is just like the station rotation that allows the students to rotate through station on a fixed schedule. However, in this case, online learning occurs only in the computer laboratory or in the multimedia room. Next is the flipped classroom model. So in this rotation model, learners work for their online learning in an off-site place for their bring home tasks and will attend brick and mortar campus for a teacher-guided face-to-face activities. Contents are mainly delivered online, which differ from some model that only utilizes online medium for bring home tasks. Kaning flip classroom model kay nag-base sa idea sa traditional teaching. However, it is inverted in the sense that what is normally done in class is naka-reverse or naka-switch with that which is normally done by the student out of class. Thus, instead na ang students maminaw sa lecture in class and then going home to work on a set of assigned problem, they prefer to read a course literature and assimilate lecture material through videos at home and engage in teacher-guided problem-solving, analysis, and discussion in class. The last one is the individual rotation. So, in this rotation model, learners are given freedom on what rotation to take based on their availability. So, individualized schedules for each learner is expected to design their own schedule or be given by the assigned teacher. So, in this model, students are free to choose between the various station and learning opportunities. But ang kalayan lang ani sa any other rotation models is that the students aren't necessarily rotate to every station. So each student has an individualized playlist of activities and only rotates to the station or modalities identified on their personalized schedule that is determined by the teacher or in software algorithm. So now we will move on to the next type of blended learning, which is the flex model. So in this model, online task serves as a mainstream source of learning, though learners are asked to perform offline activities. Flexibility of schedules among the learning modalities will be provided as learning may individualize and customize mobility. Moreover, the role of teachers supplements online learning on a regular basis. So, in other words, this model of blended learning allows the students to freely decide in how, what, when, and where they learn through the utilization of internet connectivity as well as the technology. Then, ang role sa teacher kay mag-provide og support and instruction when they are needed.
Once again, good afternoon everyone, especially to you Ma'am LJ Nunez. To continue our discussion, I'll be going to discuss the following. 1. A la carte model. 2. Enriched virtual model. Synchronous online learning, asynchronous online learning, and the last one are the 3 types of interactions. To formally start, as the pandemic hindered our traditional learning system, we Filipinos like to exert our knowledge and ability to keep up in modern times. And yet, as the time goes by, the essence of being innovative and resourceful truly seen in us. And now I would like you to introduce the a la carte model. In this model, learners take an entirely online class along with other experiences that the learners is having at a brick and mortar campus. The assigned teacher work online while learners may choose between working on the brick-and-mortar campus or off-site. It is different from a full-time online learning because it is not a whole school experience, as learners take some courses online and other takes it from a brick-and-mortar campus. Based on my understanding, a la carte model is a combination of face-to-face instruction with an elective online course chosen by the learners, of course according to their interests or needs. In this way, a teacher can expand the range of study resources that those learners may choose in order to boost their motivation and obviously personalize their learning path. Ang best example ani guys if naata sa traditional way of teaching. If ever you are a teacher, then nagpresent ka og instructional video sa imong mga estudyante. And after sa inyong discussion, nagpa-research ka for further absorption of knowledge na related sa inyong topic. So si estudyante, mangita og way using online platforms para madagdagan iyang knowledge related sa inyong topic. Then pwede ra ni buhaton ni estudyante either sa school or sa ilang balay. And now we will going to enrich virtual model. In this model, learners take a part of course face-to-face with the assigned teacher and free to work remotely for the remaining of the coursework. When working remotely, learners may work online with the minimal guidance of the assigned teacher. It is not the same with a flipped classroom since learners seldom meet face-to-face with their assigned teachers and is different from a fully online course because a face-to-face learning is given as some part of the course. In other words, students are required to attend face-to-face learning session with a teacher, but then they are also free to complete the remaining coursework remotely. It is also a full-time discussion and then developed blended programs. Meaning to say, this model face-to-face learning is required. Ikaw as a teacher, nag-discuss ka using a video presentation. Then after ana, kay na kay activity nga gipabuhat. For example, nagpabuhat ka og web page para sa isa ka business. Then after ana, si students i-discuss na niya kung unsay content sa iyang web page using PPT or a video presentation. And now it's time for synchronous online learning. It means that the students are required to log in and participate in class at a specific time each week. It means to say, pag naghatag na gani si ma'am or sir o link sa Google Meet, pasabot ana, natay klase ana nga time during sa iyahang period sa iyang subject. Asynchronous online learning allows students to view instructional materials each week at any time they choose and does not include a live video lecture component. So dili naman ni iba sa atua guys. Basta ang keywords lang ani guys if synchronous online learning, real-time discussion, while asynchronous online learning means naay instructional materials but walay live video na discussion. I have here a table shows a differentiation of synchronous online learning and asynchronous online learning. In terms of pacing, synchronous is constant bit rate for several minutes or hours, while in asynchronous, it depends on the learners. In terms naman of time of conduct, sa synchronous is real time of course. Then asynchronous is offline as long as it will reach the deadline. In terms of internet connection, sa synchronous, dapat stable and fast. While sa asynchronous, won't require a fast connection. And then, in terms of types of communication, so sa synchronous, naan chat rooms and online conference. Sa chat room, dito na to makuan sa Messenger, sa Google Meet, or other platforms na real-time or ang ginagamit nato. While sa asynchronous, discussion forum, tools, and learning management system, mo na siya ang sa LMS. So, di naman nato ni iba sa tua, kabalo naman ta kung unsa ang asynchronous ug synchronous. Aside from the differences of online communication, blended learning also differs based on the interaction of the learners in distant communication. That's according to Moore. That's the 3 types of interaction. The following are teacher-to-learner interaction, learner-to-content interaction, learner-to-learner interaction. So when we talk about teacher-to-learner interaction, it means to say, si teacher o ang estudyante na ay interaction, either physical interaction during the class discussion or sa online world. And then, learner-to-content interaction, it means to say, ang gihatag ni teacher na content or discussion, bali na ay, kung if ever na activity nga gihatag, so si learner na interaction or if ever si learner na ay gibuhat ana para ma-fulfill na nga activity. And then learner-to-learner interaction, this is the time nga si learner or ang kapwa niya estudyante is naa sila'y communication. For example, if ever na pangutanas during discussion din wala na sabta ni sa ka-estudyante, so it means to say na sila interaction either through physical interaction during the class discussion or either the online discussion or through online discussion. However, there are still other interactions that should be observed in this way of learning. Friesen and Kuskis listed 3 of these interactions, and one of these is learner-to-interface interaction. This includes how learners utilizes their abilities in interacting and engaging with a prescribed technology. And this may not be entirely separate with the interaction listed by Moore. But it is just reminds you that the learners need knowledge on communication and technical skills in distance education. As a teacher, you have to make sure that these learners know how to interact with your medium. So if ever you are a teacher, then if you are utilizing a technology, make sure na na-orient na nimo ang imong estudyante bago ka mag-start sa imong discussion. Then make it sure na if ever na ay mga question ang estudyante, you are ready to respond their questions positively. Vicarious interaction. This encompasses active processing of learners, observation from the learner to learner, and teacher to learner interaction. Realistically, not all learners interact with their own classmates or teachers, but does not mean that they won't know how to manage learning by themselves. Although these learners won't learn, They still wait for an opportunity to interact with their learners and you online. As a teacher, you have to be sensitive on how the knowledge is conveyed and how learners felt your need. So this time, you as a teacher, dili lang ta mag-focus sa isa ka estudyante na nakasabot dayon. Meaning to say, you as a teacher, open ka for any difficulties na na-experience ni student during sa inyong discussion. So dapat, ready ka ana na time as a teacher to feed their mind in a productive way. And the last one is teacher to content interaction. This includes your knowledge as a teacher on the pedagogical repertoire that will gauge you in the course of the distance learning process. This encompasses how you design your course, how you select appropriate instructional materials, and how you use effective online learning strategies. As a teacher, you have to make sure that you have stable capabilities in creating and designing learning plans through web-based programs as platforms for your classes. This means, as a teacher, dapat, if magbuhat ka og instructional materials, make it sure na related sa inyong topic. Then dapat na-adjud kay supporting details para dali ra masabta ni students ang discussion. And then make your instructional materials lively and easy to catch up to your students. And to sum it up, the concept of blended learning using online platform shows how upgraded we are in terms of learning. It might not be a traditional learning that we experienced before, but through this concept of learning, we can still be unproductive and knowledgeable as we use it responsible and well manageable. I think that would be all. Once again, good day and mabuhay.